One, good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. In NFL news, the Cleveland Browns have named quarterback Joe Flacco as their starter ahead of their preseason finale against the Rams this Saturday. This will be the first season Flacco begins the season as the starting quarterback since 2019 when he started for the Denver Broncos. In Rams news, Matthew Stafford back at Rams practice today after a back injury caused an extended absence as the team is hopeful he can be ready for Week 1 against the Houston Texans. And a trade in the NFL over the weekend as the Texans traded wide receiver John Mechie to the Philadelphia Eagles along with a 6th-round pick in exchange for tight end Harrison Bryant and a 5th-round pick. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Happy Monday to everybody in the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. University of Tennessee, Blaine, named their starting quarterback last night. Joey Aguilar, the transfer in from UCLA, who swapped places with Nico, got the start. It'll be very interesting to see what happens throughout this whole thing because, I mean, quarterback seems to be a pretty big deal, obviously. It's an important position. And I've heard a lot of people say this is a quarterback-friendly offense, but this is the SEC. This is a step up. And listen, UCLA was willing to give him a shot at a starting position before the whole Nico thing, before Nico became available. So they upgraded their quarterback position in their eyes by going after Nico. Tennessee Volunteers, don't feel like there's going to be a huge drop-off in the win column with Joey Aguilar. But it'll be very interesting to see what's your whole take on, obviously, something that we knew was coming for the most part, but what's your whole take on now that it's official on Joey Aguilar as the University of Tennessee quarterback?
Man, what did he? They had a scrimmage. So how did he do in a scrimmage? I have no idea. They
closed to the media. So
Tennessee football does not like media statewide, apparently.
So it is. It's a miss. I'm assuming it did pretty well because they named him the starter, but I not a lot to go off of.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. I'd love to hear from the players what their thoughts are on. Of him being named the starter. You'd love to hear the players. We heard from him when we were to hear about Boo Carter and why he was doing what he's doing. So, to me, this is where you got to put your big boy pants on. So I'm just interested why this is kind of against Heupel's what he's done in the past. And that doesn't mean you don't learn from what your decisions were from in the past. I just didn't know what he got out of just naming him now. I mean, you could not even name him and everybody knows who the starter is on your team. This far ahead, what is it, a week from the game? When is it?
Yep, game is next Saturday, about almost 2 weeks.
I don't know if it's really anything to take from it. I just think, I think it's much more difficult, me personally, for a guy to transfer when he got there, and even Nico, to then all of a sudden you're the guy unless you're head and heels better than the other player. And I don't know if he is. So I don't know if it was more Merklinger didn't step up. McIntyre, probably's body's not ready, but probably play well enough to compete. Maybe that's how he just kind of won it out of default. He didn't want any confusion because if he plays bad and let's say they barely win, there's going to be conversations. And not by players, because they're going to do it regardless, but by the coaches. And so, I haven't watched him at all, so I don't know what he's going to look like versus SEC or competition, let alone, Syracuse got a new quarterback, so I don't know where they're in their
they just named their quarterback today, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as how good their team is going to be, I have no idea. So we could ask Keith Bullock on that one.
Yeah. It just, to your point, it sounds like from the way that everybody kind of talks about it, and it's kind of hard to get a really definitive information because of how they're even more strict than the Atlanta Falcons apparently down there at the University of Tennessee. But it sounds like Joey Aguilar was better than Merklinger, but it kind of sounds like the way that everybody describes it, Merklinger lost.
Right.
Not that Aguilar won. Like, I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like.
Said.
Yeah.
Well, I just said Merklinger just didn't play well, so he just out of default, he gets the job. I mean, so...
Which does not instill a lot of confidence from the outside looking in. To me, like,
I don't know.
If you won by default,
was that the real case? We
don't know. I mean, that's just what it sounds like, right? Like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what it sounds like by the reports, or at least that's how I interpret what is being said, what is being written. Is that, like, I've seen a few people say Merklinger failed to grab the job or failed to overtake, and like if that is the way that it's done, it just feels like to me like shouldn't the message be or the messaging be Aguilar won the job decisively.
I mean, you're a UT guy. That's why we always refer to you. Like, you understand the fan base. You're part of the fan base, Jackson. Like, how do you view it?
I agree with parts of it. I felt like Joey was always the front runner for the job, even coming into fall camp, even though he was at a disadvantage from a learning curve standpoint because Merklinger's been there now for multiple years and has experience in the offense. I always felt like he was Joey being brought in, paid to come in. I always felt like he had the slight edge on Merklinger, and so I'm not surprised that. But Jake had to make a bigger push for the job. I felt like than Joey would have had to, so he just didn't capitalize on the opportunity. And Joey's going to be the starter week 1. It could change.
Real quick question: why do you think Joey was the favorite going in?
Because they went and got him.
FCS starting ability. That's it.
Because they went and got him. They went and seeked him out in the transfer portal, paid him reportedly upwards of $1 million to come in for a season. So I'm assuming that he came in to be the starter, much like they did with Joe Milton after spring practice in 2021, and he ended up being the starter for week 1. That could change. A Merklinger, could come in week 2 like Hendon Hooker did. But this has happened before in the Heupel era, so going off inferencing, because we don't get to see a lot of practice, we don't get to see a lot of reps. Going off of inferencing, I felt like Joey had the edge because I've seen this movie play out before.
Well, I think it's a little different. You tell me, like, as far as just what you said about they brought him in. Well, I'm sure Heupel recruited Joe Milton, who was a big 5-star, highly recruited player. Aguilar wasn't, so he wasn't on his radar, so he didn't have any relationship. He brought him in at the end. He doesn't know the offense. Milton was a high-profile guy, so then it kind of changes. To me, that's a little bit different. And then to come in and win over teammates, I guarantee you the teammates are split right now. And I don't know what other quarterback, but they're split because it's hard to win over guys like that really quickly unless you're just that much better. And I don't think he's that much better. Like that's a difficult, and you can splinter the team. Coaches have to be real careful, and the Heupel, I'm sure, knows that. Maybe that's why he's trying to shut it down now and just like, this is our guy. We're riding with him until actually I make a move and take him out. I mean, like, because it could be really interesting, and that can divide a locker room.
Yeah, and I didn't think, in my opinion, Merklinger's spring game wasn't impressive at all. I didn't think, from what I saw on various clips, because they didn't televise it, but from what I saw on various picks on social media clips and listening to it on the radio, he didn't seem to be very decisive and impressive in that spring game. So I felt like this was always the outcome that we were going to reach. So I probably didn't have as big of a reaction as some people might have.
I do find it interesting to your point that choosing sides, for lack of a better term. I'm sure Merklinger had his supporters just as much as Aguilar had his supporters. And I do know at least one player that has gone on record, at least, I believe it was with 3HL at SEC Media Days when they were there, was Miles Kitzelman, the tight end, who said that he just holds everybody accountable. He likened it to something different than what it was last year. Speaking of Joey Aguilar and all that kind of stuff. So we at least know one player that was on Joey Aguilar's side, but we don't know. What about the rest of the tight ends? What about the running backs? What about the wide receivers, defenders? All this stuff. To your point, I'm sure Merklinger had his fans in there. And I do wonder, I think there is a valid question to ask. How much of a leash does Joey Aguilar get if he starts off rough? Because, I don't know. I'm sure the expectations inside the building are at the very minimum an 8-4 team. And if you start off really slow and you start off with a lot of interceptions or a lot of fumbles, because, he has 40 turnovers over the last 2 seasons at App State, interceptions plus fumbles. I do wonder, how much is that leash? And then what does that do? To your point, what does that do to the locker room if Joey Aguilar, is the reason why you can clearly say the reason why you're losing games, but then you pull them and you put in Merklinger? I do wonder.
Well, now I give Heupel this though. Yeah. He has shown that he is not stubborn in his ways. Now it was an injury, but Milton was already going on the road. I thought he should have put Hooker in there sooner than later because you could see the operation of the offense just ran much smoother. So he did go against the guy he brought in. So he does value winning and putting the guy who's getting the best results in best. So. That's why you want to push trust in Heupel. Right. That's why he gets paid, $9 million or whatever, big bucks, man.
Because I think that's a very real possibility because of Heupel's history.
Yeah, that's I think I said last week, is this going to be a 2-quarterback system? At some point, maybe it becomes that in certain situations. I don't know, because if you're not getting the production you want consistently, what do you do now? Because you got to make sure Merklinger stays in focus mentally, because once he feels like, what if he feels like he got, nuts and bolts, like he got screwed, like he thought, hey, man, it should still be a battle. Not to say that he won it, but it still should be a battle. That's always going to be the question. So, man, that's a tough one. And without us seeing anything, man, that's a tough call. Man, he must have just wowed them where he was just better than everybody else. That's what I have to assume that, right? And trust in Heupel.
I think that's where you're kind of at, right? Heupel has deserved to have, he's banked some credit, banked some faith. So I think you have to have that. But to your point, we've seen him pull before quarterbacks and change out quarterbacks. I wouldn't be surprised. I would be more shocked if Aguilar started out bad and he kept him in than I would be if he started out bad and they put in Merklinger. What about you, Jackson?
How much of this is him learning from the Joe Milton versus Hendon Hooker situation? Because he went with Joe Milton had less starting experience than Hendon Hooker at the Division I level coming into the 2021 season. Hendon Hooker started multiple years at Virginia Tech, and Joey Aguilar has started 25 games over the last 2 years at FBS App State, which may not be like a high-profile SEC-level school, but it is more starting experience at the Division I level. He's also 24 years old. You're going to get more of an experienced quarterback than Jake Merklinger, who I don't believe has started a game at the Division I level. So I think this could be him learning from that and going with the more experienced player in Joey Aguilar.
I'd go the other way. 40 turnovers, that's no experience. That's too much. That's not good. If anything, Heupel presses no turnovers. This guy's got 40 turnovers?
Zach, where did you get that?
He's just a starter at FCS.
I got that off PFF.
Yeah, I see 24.
He's just a starter at FCS. I mean, that doesn't equate to playing in the SEC for me. That's not enough.
I got 23 interceptions and then the fumbles.
You can see it on his tapes and fumbling. But he is a tough cookie. I know that. I assume that he's mentally tough too. But until you get rattled by the SEC defense, you really know?
Right. 23 on PFF, it's 23 interceptions for just the regular season, not postseason, or bowl games. And then for the last 2 seasons, 17 fumbles, according to PFF.
So with the fumbles, how many of those are him just getting, the App State offensive line is outmatched and he's getting destroyed and losing the ball?
I don't know. I didn't go in the last 10 minutes and watch the last 21 these fumbles, to be honest.
I'm sure somewhere in the middle, but those turnovers stand out really. That's a lot.
I get your point, but I just didn't watch them, so I can accurately tell you.
I feel like some of the players around him at Tennessee, the supporting cast is going to be better than what he had at App State.
To me, that's what I was going to say is like you're correct. It will be better, but the competition will be tougher than what he saw at App State. We're talking about him going up against like East Tennessee. Like his toughest game last year
was Clemson. I don't know if Tennessee will play teams at Clemson's level,
right?
But Clemson is a high-profile, high echelon of college football, especially on the defensive side. So, like, the competition does go up, but his supporting cast will be up there in the upper echelon where it hasn't been when he's going up against upper echelon teams.
Did you watch the Clemson game? I watched it.
He didn't look good.
Wide open. And his stats going to tell you that he actually played decent. He did not play well in that game. I watched the entire game when they were talking about signing him. He did not play. He missed guys on slants, outs. They were open. Now, he did make some tough throws, too, by the way. But he missed some guys that were open. And it was supposedly their better receivers. So he was pissed.
To your point, if you just looked at the box score, like interceptions, touchdowns, and yards, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was also 18 of 40 with 45% completion percentage, 5.4 yards per attempt, obviously. So, I mean, like, yes, I get your point that it's around him, but he's going to be facing a lot stiffer and quicker and more talented players because then I go down to a game like, I know I'm just box score scouting, so excuse me, but go down to Marshall, 59.1% completion percentage. But sure, he got 293 yards, but 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 6 turnover-worthy plays that include those 2 interceptions. Like, it's not going to be... As much as maybe Tennessee fans don't want to hear this, it's not going to be as clean of football as what you saw from Nico. It's not going to be as clean of football from Joey Aguilar. I don't know if it's going to be as clean as football as Joe Milton at this point. I mean, and because we know Joe Milton had his issues with turnovers and inaccuracies and stuff. But we'll see. But I do think you do give benefit of the doubt to Josh Heupel as much as you can, a coach in this kind of situation, the situation that has involved having to even go to Joey Aguilar. When we come back, we'll go to and talk about the Tennessee Titans versus Atlanta Falcons. So we'll talk about what we saw from Cam Ward. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Stores. 615-737-1045 if you want to get in on the conversation. We're going to be shifting to the Tennessee Titans. And Blaine, Cameron, 2 for 7. It doesn't look good on the stats sheet.
Yeah, did you rip him for this? Because you know you're a stats guy.
I did not.
Jackson, did you rip him?
I did not.
We were very objective, saying that, hey, and I know it doesn't look sexy on the box score, right, but there was a lot of things you could take away. And what was interesting is that there was a lot of his incompletions were dissected by media members, Kurt Warner and all the guys that do film. And I'm like, it's very surreal to have a Tennessee Titans quarterback that even when he doesn't make the completion or when there's an incomplete pass, that there are still good things to take away from the lead up to that incomplete pass. And that's what I kind of felt with Cam Ward, is that it seemed like they put a real emphasis on trying to get the ball downfield and trying to get the ball to Alec Manor, which was an emphasis all through practice. So what they were practicing that week, they were trying to put into a game. Now, whether that's the right way to go about a preseason game or not, I don't know. But they're obviously trying to build chemistry between him and Alec. A couple of passes a little bit off the mark, but these were still catchable. So, but I thought the emphasis by Brian Callahan after the game being on operation was a big sign that, hey, I know the box score doesn't look that good. I know that there's a lot of incomplete passes, but we were very happy with how he handled his responsibilities in the huddle, pre-snap, post-snap, how he went about his business. And, I know it's hard to kind of like get excited about, yes, operations and stuff like that and execution. But, that is something that is pretty good.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird, especially being there live to kind of watch him. One thing that you notice, not only is his pocket presence really solid like he's been in this league, but it was him looking off DBs and really getting them off their spots and then making throwing lanes. I think more so than anything, he just has to play with these players longer so they could stay on the same page. A good example is that when I call it the T, they have different receivers, one in the middle, one out, on the numbers, and that's a T, really like how they're trying to attack your defense. And when he threw it to DK in the middle, DK half-heartedly put his hand out to try to catch it, but he felt like somebody was going to come and hit him. What they need to do is continue to take another step, throw it low and inside, and that is a completion. Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about, being on the same page. You can still have completions. And I thought another one was when Alec Manor beat a guy. Actually, it was kind of interesting because it was like 3rd and 2. They decided to throw the football. It was 1-on-1, and he threw it up on the outside shoulder. Nobody can get it, and that's where he should throw the ball. Alec Manor wasn't there. Yeah. He's got to get there. Yeah. All right. So
I know exactly what play you're talking about. And so I thought,
and then, we can all go through the Van Jefferson, should he have caught it? It was a tough catch, but I sure want my veteran guy to catch that ball. Yeah. That was coming right down where I was sitting. I was like, oh, he's got to catch that ball. Yeah. He's got to catch it. Yeah. I love Van Jefferson and everything else, but veterans got to catch that ball. If I was Alec Manor and he dropped it, then you go, that's just a rookie. We can move forward. Hopefully he'll get the next one. So I love how, Cameron, responded to that question. He's like, I got to throw it better. Naturally, that's a guy's not going to throw his guy on the bus. And Van has played well to that point, but you gotta find a way to make those kind of catches to keep the drives alive. And that was a deep ball, too. So that was a little disappointing on my part. But I thought functionally in the process of running plays and everything else, he was outstanding. The only thing I haven't seen, though, is he hasn't really got a lot of pressure. Yeah. It's almost like he's sitting back there, and I think even in his eternal clock, he goes, wham, he starts moving around, and he feels like he got to get rid of the ball. But, I just want to see it a little more intense, and I don't think we're going to see that to a regular season game, unfortunately. And by the way, I know we can say what you want to say. The Falcons played their twos, and the Titans played their starters. So it really wasn't going against that high-level competition as far as Cameron Ward. But, you got to compete who they throw out there, and he did a good job. So that's why I always say stats aren't everything. I was just teasing But like 2 for 7 from the surface, you just watch it, you go, man,
right.
that wasn't good. But you go watch him, you go, it wasn't actually, that's the case. And one time he was backed up, so you got to hear the crowd got actually kind of loud for a preseason game. I mean, I'm sure he could hear it. And he got a little happy feet a little bit to make sure he got rid of the ball. So I thought, man, he plays as though he's been in this league like he's a third-year player. So that he's a mature guy.
To your point, you're talking about the offensive line. There's a lot I want to talk about Cam Ward and about that game. But once he gets that first hit, it's going to be very interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like when he gets hit, that first quarterback hit after a pass is already thrown, or that first sack. Because like you said, even in practice, you're not seeing that, right? Like, I mean, you don't. And getting hit in the NFL, I'm sure, is very different than getting hit in college. Different players and all that kind of stuff. But that is something that he has yet to experience because he's had the benefit of having a really nice pocket to throw from.
Man, yes.
I mean, and listen, I know you weren't here on Friday, but Friday, you know, they ESPN listed their top 5 or top 10 position groups of every position across the NFL, and they had the offensive line for the Titans at 5. 5th best offensive line group in the NFL.
Based off of preseason?
Well, no, I think it's just based off of their projection.
Oh, I got you.
And I was very surprised, to be honest with you. But if they even get up to, like we've been saying, 15th, that's still really good for your rookie quarterback. But how he handles when those pockets aren't that clean, and we have seen him in practice do it and maneuver. We've seen it on college tape. But when live bullets are flying, it's a little bit different. But I do have faith that while it may not be perfect every time, that this is a guy that's not going to get rattled. But we'll see. But from everything I've seen, to your point, and like you said, and I agree, is that everything looks pretty good. Looks like the Titans are having a guy, and we're going to see more action, with joint practices against Minnesota, or not joint practices against Minnesota, with the game against Minnesota, because he's likely going to play against Minnesota, is what they said. That, I don't know, I kind of am feeling pretty good about Cam Ward. Does not mean that I'm feeling pretty good about this Titans season, but I'm feeling pretty good that Cam Ward looks like a dude that you can, build around right now.
Oh, no, he definitely looks like a franchise quarterback. Now we got to see him doing it. There's a process. So he's passing the eyeball test and actually, for the coaches and everything else. And, everybody breaking him down. A lot of people keep talking about, though, and I'm not a quarterback guru and I'm not into, quarterback's footwork. And I know Dan Orlovsky kind of went at him the game before this Tampa Bay game, but I could see how that could be an appearance on affect his accuracy.
Yeah.
But I think he's a very accurate. That one, Van Jefferson, I was sitting there right there in that window, and I couldn't even believe he threw that ball. And for him to get it to where he got it, oh, my God, it was incredible.
Even the Ellick pass you're talking about.
It was right where it needs to be.
Yeah, like, he's throwing it to spots. Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you're talking about throwing guys open, he is doing what Brian Callahan has preached for the last year and a half, what they preached over like 2 weeks ago. They both were saying the same thing, was that I got to throw it to a spot and trust my guys to go up and make the play. And listen, Van Jefferson didn't make the play. He still went at Van Jefferson later on. He didn't quit targeting him. And that's kind of what you want to see from your quarterback, right? Okay, you messed up. We're going to keep going to you because you're what I got out there. So I'm going to keep going to you. Yeah. And I think that Ellick pass, if he was just a little bit faster, he should have been in that spot a little there, because that was a pass that was thrown way early. I mean, but that's in a good way, not like in a bad way. It was thrown early. He was decisive, and he was throwing it right to, they call it was it the red zone? No, it's not the red zone. The green area of the field or something like that. He was throwing it to a spot that the quarterbacks typically
an experienced receiver would have got that, got their hands on that. Because they would have faded to because they know where it's going. Like, Ellick played it as though he was still in college, just throw it to my chest right here, then I'll just run. Well, these guys are running, man, and they get angles and they understand.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, I just think the receivers, they need to keep playing with each other, getting on the same page, especially the young guys. The biggest question is not, Restrepo making the roster by these yahoos who's saying that over Van Jefferson. It's really is Elikai Manor. Really, how soon will he be up to speed to take it from Van Jefferson?
Are you sure you didn't listen to Titans Talk back on Friday? Because that's exactly what me and Stoney said. Yeah.
Oh,
well, I'm just saying on the radio or something. But
yeah, so that's a question. Like, how quick can he get up there? And I don't think he's quite there yet, but he's starting to show signs. So him playing with Cam and then Calvin really not playing, so now he was kind of a focal point, right? And you get to see them out there together. And, when you're young, sometimes you lean into the upside, and a veteran guy who's been here and hasn't really take onus as being a starter in the league, been more of a career backup. So that is going to be interesting. I think that's the real battle. Restrepo, I don't know if I've said before that he's not going to make the roster last week or so, didn't I? He's a practice squad candidate, and that's
this game did not change that. You know what I'm saying?
But he got to play more. He had a little bit of production. I think Proche.
Because that's the thing is that Proche still looks better than Restrepo at every chance he gets, and he's got the special teams. And I'll say this about the Van Jefferson thing, because we kind of thought, we pondered the ideas like, okay, we know Van Jefferson's making this team. We know, though, that this team is making a concerted effort to give Elikai Manor every opportunity to take the starting job. Mm-hmm. And that means Van Jefferson's still going to be on this team.
Right.
Because you want as many veterans around here for no matter what happens. But the guys that said that, well, Restrepo would have made that catch by that Van Jefferson drop, that was a big thing on Twitter. Xavier Restrepo would have made that catch. Xavier Restrepo wouldn't have even been in that spot and would have had, because if you look at the play, Van Jefferson, with the way that he ran his route, was able to create a lot of space between him and the DB. I don't think Xavier Restrepo's there. That could have been likely an interception, because, or maybe at least an overthrow, because I don't even think Xavier Restrepo would have made it to that spot.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I'm going to say this. I'm a big fan of Restrepo.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of guys, getting the most out of their ability, but sometimes everybody has a shelf life on where that takes you. And he just, I was hoping that he did. I can't see him being more than a practice squad player. Now, if that happens, I think you were kind of informing me they have to cut him, and then other teams can pick him up.
Yeah.
So that probably won't be with the Titans.
If they claim him through that waiver process, they claim him, another team, he has to go on their final 53.
So
I think he does clear.
Right.
And so I do think the Titans
have a shot.
And I think, let's just be honest, he'd rather be
all
here.
You want is an opportunity.
Yeah.
And then, you get your opportunity. But, I saw Mason Kinsey making tackles on special team. I saw Restrepo as a blocker on punt return. Yeah. Just as a blocker that that curls around the line and goes all the way back and make sure the guy catches it, and then he curls around and kind of tries to ear hole somebody. So I think they know what they have, and it's just it's unfortunate, man. He's not going to get ready. Sheffield, we could talk about Sheffield, who's from here, went to Independence High School. He fumbled, so his luck of the draw is done for him, unfortunately. So, there's a lot of guys, I told you, it's hard to make a team as an undrafted guy. They only have 5 spots. You got to come in and wow. And when I say wow, you got to do something every day. Go, oh, dang, he keeps showing up. I think Restrepo's had some wow moments throughout camp, maybe 2 or 3 times, and that's it.
Well, look at what Gabe Judy-Lawley's been able to do, right? I mean, he's been able to do stuff in practice almost every day where he's getting mentioned or getting rewarded and all this stuff. Now, he's a second-year undrafted free agent, but still at the same time, he's still an undrafted free agent that didn't really do anything last year for the team, right?
Just on a practice squad, right?
That's a good format for Xavier Restrepo, right? You make the practice squad with the team that you've already kind of learned the terminology. You got Cam Ward here. and all this kind of stuff. That's why I think that he clears waivers and then he's brought back on this practice squad here.
I have to say this. Gabe Jeudy-Lally, I didn't think he was physical enough to play in the slot.
Yeah.
He showed that in this game.
He was
he
really
was had his
physical.
butt on fire, and he was filling on some blitzes, and he was getting physical. I was really stunned just because on his build alone, and he's always kind of been an outside guy, whether he was at Vanderbilt or Tennessee. And so he's always looked good out there. This is the first I've ever seen him look that physical. Even last week, he looked like he didn't want to blitz. He didn't want to get in that traffic. It gets a little messy in there, and you see another 300-pound dude coming. You're like, is he coming to get me or somebody else?
Yeah.
That's a different little world that, he hasn't really lived in that world at all. Like, usually when you're that nickel, you've been doing that over. So he's just started that. So he shows some physicality there. Yeah, he's pretty much a lock on the team, probably.
That's what it feels like right now.
He's a lock. There were some other guys that showed out. Lynch stood out on D-tackle. They're number 97. Naturally, Brooks with the interception was a cover 3. He just came down behind the back throw, bad throw. Femi looked more improved, but more from hustle plays and backside and unblocked. Naturally, we got the tight end with the big time catch for touchdown.
Yeah.
High pointed the ball. I was disappointed in Jackson's favorite player, the special teams, both kickers. And special teams getting penalties. That happens in the preseason. But missed extra point, and he shanked another ball. This is 2 games in a row, and this guy's a big-time player.
Yeah.
But he's going on year 14. See? Sometimes you can't predict when that happens.
Right.
So, naturally he recovered and came back with better kicks. But to see it 2 games in a row, and I don't know. Now they're going to give him the pass, I'm sure. But consistency from kicking you're there or you're not. It's no in between, and that they've shown it right now. So I feel reason why I say that, I don't know if we've upgraded from what we had last year, and that's what I'm comparing it to. So I'm not the kicker and guru for sure, but I don't know. What do you see anything, Jackson?
Gotta make your extra
think
points.
about the kicker.
At first I thought maybe
Especially
it got
since
blocked.
You emphasize, the high slide and Hecker.
Yeah, I thought that maybe it got blocked initially, and I went back and watched all 22, and maybe a fingertip got on it. It did not.
Oh.
So it was
You can't
bad.
miss extra points.
You can't. To me, I'm a apparently. Oh man, where did I see this from? I think it's where they lined up on the hash, but to me, it's still not someone tried to give an excuse of like kicker science or something. I cannot remember where that was from.
But there's no excuse.
Excuse to me.
Go between those 2 yellow.
Yeah. But this is why I was a big proponent of still bringing back Nick Folk. It's just, we'll see. But this is not a good start. And I do think the punting, I think some of it is we're so used to seeing Ryan Stonehouse kick at 60 yards, but what we're seeing from Johnny Hecker is these players are getting down. The Gunners.
Oh, I'm not talking about the good kicks. I'm talking about the 2 shanks.
Yeah,
I mean he shanked them and then they kind of rolled and he got lucky, but it didn't go clear off the foot.
Yeah.
This is 2 games in a row. He shanked the first game. Everybody saw that one.
Yeah.
I'm sure they saw it.
We'll see, but it's definitely.
Did you see him, or did I just imagine that?
I did not. Punting is kind of bathroom break time.
You didn't see the missed extra point?
I saw the missed extra point. That was a bad kick.
Yeah, that was definitely a bad kick.
I mean, that happens every so often, but oh man,
yeah, you don't want to see it in a preseason
a team
game.
that can't afford to make those kind of mistakes.
Right.
Those are unacceptable at this point in time. When you're a playoff contending team, you're like, oh, he'll get past and move on. We're a better team. But man, they got to get every kick. And then they say the kickers actually can kick. He was kicking in warm-ups. I was watching like 59, 60 yarders and with room to spare.
Yeah, when we come back, we'll continue our discussion about the preseason game because there is I feel like a competition brewing in one of these spots, and we talked about it. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We talked about it, Blaine. I can't remember if it was our Friday show before the first preseason game or when we did the pregame show, the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff that Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, I guess. But we talked about how, hey, this Cedric Gray and James Williams competition is not as locked up that I think people think. And we talked about it before that game.
We did.
And you specifically brought up the aspect of, hey, he's a 4th round pick, seeing a 7th round pick get reps over him. He ain't going to go, quietly into that good night.
Yeah.
And I tell you, Cedric Gray started getting run with the ones last week when I was out. He was getting ones with the Falcons with the Titans in Falcons joint practices. He got the start next to Cody Barton. Then James Williams came in, which is the vice versa of what happened the first preseason game. I'm very interested. And he sent that poor running back up in the air, sent him to the waiver wire. I mean, he knocked that poor running back. And, they only
gave him a half a sack.
Yeah.
I
I could not believe it that Carlos Watkins got half a sack credit. I'll say, I know that he was there, and I know that he touched him and helped, but really that was going to be a sack for Cedric Gray either way. Then he had the interception that got the penalty, didn't count as the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
But that stuff does count when you're fighting for a job.
Oh, yeah. And it's on film. I mean, everybody saw it. So,
yeah.
So the reason why I thought Cedric Gray played better than James Williams the game before is because I said he was telling other people where to go.
Yeah.
And that means he has a great understanding of the entirety of the defense, not just about what he does. See, and that's where when guys communicate like that and you're at that position, in James Williams, you don't see any of that. That doesn't mean he's still a better player, but I thought, I said at the time, I lean into the smarter player when they start doing stuff like that, especially when they're young, because then now you start trusting them as a veteran player. That they're doing their due diligence and they're putting their time in to make sure they understand this entirety of the defense. And it's telling you that now he's going to start playing faster. The more and more he plays, he's going to play faster because that was a maturation process for myself. So it was really easy to see to me, even though on the surface, James Williams flashed. But I think Cedric Gray is going to win the job. I was leaning that way at that time. I said, I think he's going to win it. He's the better player. And besides, I said the draft stuff. So, nothing against James Williams. I think he will eventually be the starter. But I think if I'm a coach, I'm leaning Cedric Gray down. They don't listen to anything I say over there, so and they have no idea. But that's what I see. And I think
that's where they're going to lean to as well.
Well, you say you think they're going to lean. So that like somebody told you that?
No. I wish someone told me that.
So I don't know, Jackson. What did you think? Do you think he played for that? Was impressive blitz, by the way. But he brought the hammer, man, and he wasn't taking no punches there. And then he interception too. That's pretty cool.
I felt like last season we didn't. Cedric Gray had the injury that sent him back last year, so we didn't see him. We didn't notice him as much until really midway through the season when he was getting some special teams snaps, and nobody looked good on the Titans special teams unit last year. I felt like we're finally getting to see what the draft analysts and people who drafted Cedric Gray saw when he was drafted in the 4th round. And I think he could be a really good player for this team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I said it the last 3 or 4 games, he turned it up on special teams. He started playing with this dog and nastiness that you got to play with that stood out, whether he was making a tackle or not. I was like, he's figured out the intensity level of what you got to ratchet up to play this game. And it takes a lot, and you got to be like that on every single play, where in college he was the best player, and he could just kind of maneuver and navigate without having this form of intensity level on every single play. And he showed that at the end of the season on special teams. I don't know about defense and all that, but yeah.
Well, you got to remember, this is kind of what we were talking about, and you just alluded to it again, was that, with the more reps he gets, the more comfortable he's getting. James Williams had over 339 snaps more than what Cedric Gray had all of last year. Because you got to remember, Cedric Gray got injured before preseason.
Yeah, he had the shoulder or something. Right,
and he didn't start playing until week 12, and they were easing him in. Mm-hmm. And now you see that he's got a whole off season. He's healthy. game is slowing down for him, or he's catching up to the speed of the game, I guess would probably be a better term, because he's flying around. And you're seeing kind of everything you need to see from an inside linebacker opposite of Cody Barton, because he's just the way he diagnoses the plays. When I started watching the linebackers, when I went out to training camp, you just see it. And you're just like, that dude is diagnosing and pulling the trigger so quick. It kind of like reminds me of Cam Ward in that discussion, where he looks like a guy that looks like he's been playing for a while. And I understand he's in his second year, but he's only got 174 snaps total, and the bulk of those come from special teams last year in the pros from week 12 to week 18. So,
Yeah, one thing I forgot real quick before we go to break is Cameron Ward sometimes was a beat late on throws.
Mm-hmm.
When he plays the ones, he's going to have to speed it up.
Yeah.
As soon as that guy turns his head, that ball better be right there. Hit him in his ear hole if he ain't looking. He's throwing it after they break, and then they take 2 or 3 steps.
Yeah.
He got to get it out faster, sooner. Don't wait.
Jackson, what'd you have?
I think back to this inside linebacker competition. I feel like in the first preseason game, the guy who I came away the most impressed was James Williams. He makes the big play on special teams. He was all over the place on defense. And in the second game, it's Cedric Gray. So that the evenness of this competition is going to be so interesting heading into this week against the Vikings.
And I will say, just from watching Cedric Gray the last 2 weeks on the All-22, I think Cedric Gray was the more impressive one out of both games. Yeah. Now, I agree with you. James Williams had the flashier plays in game one, and he had the flashier plays in this one. But if you are looking from down to down, and even when they're both on the field at the same time, Cedric Gray looked like a guy that's been playing linebacker since college. And that's okay, because I'm not saying James Williams played bad, but you could tell that there's a clear difference.
There's little nuances that you could tell Gray knows, and Williams just not quite
there yet.
He's going to be there, but and I'd lean into it.
I will say this. I feel very comfortable next year even if Cody Barton were to go down with injury, I do kind of feel comfortable with these two at some point being your 2 starting linebackers.
Well, I feel very comfortable with the group in general. Yeah. I think where we thought it was going to be a battle where we weren't sure if they were going to be good enough. I think now if I was coaching,
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about who's going to play opposite Cody Barton.
With Cody Barton obviously being the one calling the defense, how much room for rotation is there at the other middle linebacker spot?
Well, that's something we'll talk about when we come back, because there's a big discussion brewing among Titans, social media and radios and all this kind of stuff about the balance between veteran players and rookies and who gets starts and who doesn't and that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about that because I think people are just overthinking it. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
Did you know Eurofix has a very different business philosophy? They staff all their locations with more staff than the average auto repair shop, just so they can be ready when an emergency pops up out of nowhere. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop, and have you ever noticed how hard it is to get a right now appointment for a vehicle repair? Some dealers can be more than 2 weeks out just to get a freaking appointment, but not Eurofix. Eurofix has been offering quality repairs that beat the dealer without the dealer pricing since 1999. Plus a 3-year nationwide warranty on work performed with the staff to fix your car right now. So if you're tired of waiting forever to get your car into the shop, then call Eurofix. Owner Aaron Stokes says we will never be too busy for our customers. We're here to take their pain away, and we mean right now. And Eurofix repairs all European vehicles. Family owned for over a quarter century. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. I was telling Blaine, you.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. And there's been this discussion. I heard Ramon and Will talk about it, and I think it was off a question that PK asked in the post-game presser about finding that balancing act between starting your veterans and getting players who are raw the proper reps they need to develop. And I've kind of said on that question, I thought that was a pretty fair question to ask. I mean, that's a good question for fans to know and all that kind of stuff. See where your head coach is at. The more I kind of thought about, the more I kind of sided with a tweet that Emery Hunt who put out, and then he was also on Ramon and Will this morning, was play your best players. Because, and I guess it comes down to, how much do you play Chimere DK and Alec Manor? How much do you play Femi over Draymond Jones and Arden Key? And I think at this point, I'm just pretty much like play your best players until they become your best players. But also,
play your best players till they become the best players.
Well, play your best players until Femi and Chimere and Alec turn into your best players later on down the road. Mm-hmm. Like when they become your best players. I wanted to get your take, but just in my mind, I'm kind of looking at it like last year, the Tennessee Titans averaged 60 plays a game on offense. They averaged 59.3, so almost 60 plays a game on defense. Mm-hmm. There's enough there to be able to play your best players, but also give these snaps to these other guys where they can get their feet wet and they can get all that kind of stuff without hurting the team. I just feel like it's a classic overthink that everybody's really kind of worried about this. I don't think there's really that big of a deal. I think you can do both is what I'm really coming down on is that you can do both.
Well, I've said all along, you got to go lean into probably the first quarter, 3 or 4 games. You're trying to lean into the veteran guys and get your young players, rotate them in, especially a receiver. They can get spot play unless they beat them out in training camp.
Yeah.
Because you're actually trying to win games. Then you see, okay, where is the course going for this team?
Right.
Okay, we got to start playing them a little bit more. And they'll be gaining confidence in live action. There's tiers to this. And playing in the regular season is totally different than preseason as far as the speed of the game and the players you're going to be going against. So they're going to have to make that adjustment. And some will make the adjustment faster than the other ones. So you kind of placate into that. But eventually you want those young players in there. Yeah, you're going to play the best players. The best players are most likely going to be the veteran players until they run out of juice. Right. Really, pretty much. So, yeah, I would be rotating my receiving core outside of Calvin Ridley, regardless. Even Lockett. I think DK needs a lot of reps to me in the slot. I just thought he didn't bring enough to the table to play that position. I think it's a lot of traffic he's working through, and it's a little different for him than it was in college in the slot. So I would be trying to get him as much rep and experience as possible. So, yeah, Alec Manor, I was hoping that he could win out. I don't know if it's going to happen early in the season or before, but eventually, if Van Jefferson drops another ball, you have to put him out there because it's just the nature of the business. We can live with that for a young player that's developing. Yeah. And not a veteran player who's got to make that catch to survive in this league.
Especially in games where we've talked about on this show all last year. It's like you can almost point to 4 or 5 plays that changed the course of your game. Mm-hmm. And that would be one of those plays. One of them, no doubt. In a regular season, that
kept a drive alive.
Yeah, that could have kept a drive alive. And another explosive play, which, by the way, the Tennessee Titans have quite a few explosive plays so far throughout the year. But, I mean, they were obviously aiming for explosive plays by the way that there was no rhythm to how the plays were called. It was like Alec Manor, deep shots, all that stuff.
Explosive plays. There's some excitement. I was all for it. So that's why I'm not critiquing on play sequency. Yeah. There was no setup.
Especially not in the preseason, right? But it's obvious that, to me, I feel like there is a place for all these young players to get the reps that they are needed for their development without having to sacrifice, quote unquote, competitiveness. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the way that some people are acting, we'll just go ahead and play Gunnar Helm week 1 and put Chig on the bench because Gunnar Helm made a spectacular play. And I'm like, well, Chig's been in the league for a long time. I mean, when you're going up against Denver is a little bit different than going up against your Atlanta, second string defense. It doesn't mean that Gunnar Helm didn't make a great play. He made a fantastic catch, high point on it. But at the same time, you got to do what's best for Cam Ward. And what's best for Cam Ward is many veterans, both on both on offense and defense, to help him come along. And then those guys also help the younger players come along as well, naturally, by, when Femi's out there with Draymond Jones, and all that kind of stuff, you don't want to have like Femi and Jalen Harrell out there, your young players, so to speak.
Well, it could happen accidentally because you never know what happens. But,
right.
I think when people are getting confused it's just like a real job.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sports is. I know they're looking at it from a fandom perspective, but Gunnar Helm makes a big time play. You're in sales. All of a sudden, the young up and coming guy who just got a job made a huge sale. So now you're just going to elevate him, or the one that's been there all this time?
Yeah.
No, it's to be a gradual progression. You start gaining trust. Okay, see if he can do it again, then again, and then again, and then next you know, he will be out there full time because now the trust was already established along the way that he was going to be consistent. What if all of a sudden now he has the dropsies? You put him out there, he drops it. Oh, dang. Then he drops it. Oh, dang, there's he misses a block. And they cost him a first down. So you got to continue when you're a young player, encourage, support, but see if he can continually do it over and over again. And then now you all of a sudden say, yep, now it's time for him to be out there. You got to stand over here more time than him.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So it's no different. I always try to say it's just like a job, but I know a lot of people don't understand that it is, because it's a job to those guys. Those guys got families and everything else. And guess what? Chig is trying to get a contract. Maybe not with the Titans, but this is contract year.
Yeah.
And people could say, oh, it doesn't matter and all that. They should all play the same. I did. But some dudes play different when it's contract year. And them are the ones you don't want.
Yeah, to me, it's just
you don't want to get them paid. Yeah. That's what I mean. You let them walk.
All this clamoring for the young players, I get it. But also, it will work itself out naturally because that to me is the best way. Yeah. When you're talking about draft, develop, retain, that develop part is not really trying to rush everything. I don't think they really are rushing Cam Ward's development. I think he's just being able to take to it really quick with his work ethic and everything that he tends to do to try to get ready for games. I think there's a real meshing of the minds there with kind of everything breaking really good for him. On the flip side, like Chimere Dike, he does not need to be starting over Tyler Lockett, but he'll get his reps because they are looking for ways to creatively find him to get the ball. I know that hasn't really shown up in preseason games, but at training camp, there are plays where they're like, okay, this is the way we're going to find DK to get him the ball. And he's going to see the field. Elikai Manor is going to see the field. It's just going to be a little bit more of a natural rotation than it is something forced for right now. And I think that's the way you got to do it. And, Femi Oladapo is kind of the same thing, right? Like, I know he needs reps. There's no doubt about it. But he doesn't need reps detriment to the rest of the defense and detriment to the team. He needs reps when he's naturally ready for them, when he's, to get on progress and get on schedule, not just force feed him a bunch of reps. Now, these other defenders ahead of him, they may have to force their hand if they don't live up to what they're doing. They start having miscues. But at the same time, like Marcus Harris having that, long play pass breakup, which we'll talk about here soon, does not mean that he likely is probably not starting over Daryl Baker Jr. Not everybody needs to get their hopes up and stuff, right?
So why is nobody saying that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We're just a show that keeps it real sometimes.
It's just driven by offense and everything else. So, I think you got to be real careful because sometimes you can, make that move too soon. Some coaches have made that mistake. So you kind of just ease it and let it just happen naturally, as you mentioned. So,
well, and it's, I kind of laugh a little bit, and I'm not trying to disparage what Jordan Mims was able to do in that fourth quarter of the game, but that is also the fourth quarter of the game. Like, this is like when everybody got excited for Mekhi Sargent a few years ago, and where's Mekhi Sargent now? And I'm not saying that Jordan Mims isn't a good player, may not make this team, but everybody's like, well, I like him over Tyjae Spears. I like him over Khalil Mullins. I like him over Chestnut. I'm like, yeah, but that's the fourth quarter. That's a little bit different. Now, maybe Jordan Mims has earned himself the right to maybe try out in game 3 with maybe tougher defenses. But at the same time, you can't let one game dictate how you build your roster, how you develop talent. You just can't do that. When we come back, we'll talk more about the rookies. We need to talk about a lot of these rookies outside of Cam Ward. We'll also get to Luke, who's on the phone as well. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to Luke, who wants to talk Tennessee Titans. Luke, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys, what's up? Well, I heard you all do a little preview of it that y'all are going to talk about Marcus Harris, and I was kind of interested in that. But I've been in and out of the vehicle today, so I don't know. Did y'all talk about this alleged scrum that happened between Cam and Big Jeff today?
We haven't actually talked about it yet. Okay. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't know. I mean, I saw the tweet from Easton Freeze. I mean, there's always two sides to every story and then the truth. So, I mean, Cam doesn't seem like a guy that would push a guy in the back, but I don't know. Maybe it was just a slap on the back. Who knows? But just wanted to get y'all's thoughts. I don't really think too much of it. It's just, I guess, it's summer, so whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Luke. I mean, we touched on it off air, the scrum between Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons and the fight that broke out.
Oh, I don't know the story. Do we know the story? Can you tell it? I don't know.
Well, from what I understand is that there was a touchdown run to Julius Chestnut into the end zone, into the red zone, and J.C. Latham put Jeff Simmons on his butt on his back during his play.
Okay, fair shot.
And then I guess the next play, Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward connected on a touchdown, and Cam Ward went to celebrate. And I guess on his way back, he did the thing he's known for. What would you? I'm not too hip. I don't know what that is actually called, Jackson. If you could help me out, do you know?
I have no idea. It's just the Cam Ward celebration.
Yeah, the Cam Ward celebration, where he's basically telling you you're.
Do it again, Zach.
He's waving at him with his hand.
Is that it? Is it like this?
Keep doing it, Zach.
I'm very white, I guess you would say. I don't do it very well. I'm very unhip and old. I'm 40. I have no rhythm or groove or anything. So looking at that, and then I guess he pushed him.
He pushed Cam Ward?
Yeah, he put his hands on Cam Ward, which Cam Ward has a non-contact.
So that means Cam Ward came up to him.
Yeah, he did the little thing right in front of him as a playful thing, because this is the big thing, right? They've all both been talking, oh, well, I really respect, Cam Ward, his ability to crap talk and all that kind of stuff. But he got in front of him, did it into Big Jeff, I guess. The Zombie Land, I guess is what it's called, is the name for the celebration. So he did the Zombie Land, is what Bustin' Diamond is telling me in the chat.
Land. Okay.
And he did the Zombie Land. And that caused a push or something, and then that caused the offense to run over, and it caused this big scrum. All I know is that after the whole practice was over, Jeffrey Simmons, when players are typically made available, including Jeffrey Simmons after practice, he was escorted by public relations to inside the building, way past media, where they couldn't answer any questions.
Right.
So,
apparently Cam shoved Jeff first.
Cam apparently shoved Jeff first. I didn't have. Where did that one come from? Do you know?
Easton.
Okay, well, there you go.
Oh, so then there's no big deal.
No big deal. I mean, I don't think it was a big deal, really, regardless. But apparently, I guess it's a faux pas to put your hands on the quarterback. But if he's the one initiating it, fair game.
Yeah, I love him. That was just love taps.
It's just love taps.
His brothers,
Yeah. It happens, right? Noogies, stuff like that with brothers.
This
wedgies.
is crazy.
Now hearing the whole story. Hopefully this is the whole story.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I would prefer, I know all fun and games and competition, prefer Cameron Ward not to do that to his teammate. Really, I mean, you could talk smack and all that, but let's don't be putting your hands on people and touching people. Like, let's don't do that, man. I just that maybe it was all jokingly. I wasn't there. He just started going, oh man, we gonna get you every time, man. You can't stop it. I don't know. Maybe Jeff was pissed off because he got ear-holed and got pounced by J.C. Latham.
And it was hot. We're in a heat advisory.
So but I don't think it's a big.
Apparently, he was walking by Jeff and shoved him to get his attention to throw the celebration. They laughed, and then Jeff pushed. And then the offense probably just saw the push, the second, shove, and all that kind of stuff. So it sounds like nothing.
But it sounds really funny.
I don't know. I don't know why. Curious choice. isn't it? It's just a curious choice.
Why they didn't escort Cam Ward in?
I guess not. I don't think Cam Ward spoke to anybody, so I don't know.
Oh, no media. Oh,
yeah. So I don't know. We didn't have a press conference. It was just media scrums. I'm sure this will be a question for Brian Callahan tomorrow. I'm sure during his press conference tomorrow. So,
You got any brothers there, Jackson?
No.
You got any brothers?
No.
No, me either.
Man, are we all? None of us have brothers.
I have a sister.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just, you get in little pushing and shoving matches all the time as brothers. So, yeah, I don't think that's a big deal.
All right, let's go to Jesse. Who wants to talk about Cam Ward? Jesse, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. It's actually a multiple thing called the dance that you're talking about. I actually looked it up as a lifelong Titans fan. I was curious what he was doing, too. But it's that the other team stinks like zombies. It's like a zombie dance or something like that, just so you know. And I had called Blaine a long time ago, and whenever we drafted Will Levis, and told him that it was basically the next Tim Couch 2.0 and that you never draft quarterbacks from Kentucky. I was at the second game in Titans history, which Blaine and the whole team killed Tim Couch in, so I'd already seen what was coming. But just getting to the final point here, I think Mike Borgonzi's going to be the answer. Y'all are going to think I'm joking when I tell you this, but I've been telling people that Gunnar Helm's going to be the next coming of Kelsey, that Ayo Manor's going to be the next big A.J. Brown T.O. type receiver in the league, and that we actually got it right and got us a franchise quarterback, guys. So tighten up. It's going to be a fun little event. It may take us another draft or two, but we're getting there. And
so how many games do you think they're going to win?
Amy, please don't fire him.
How many games are they going to win?
This year, Blaine, I think if they can get 7 or 8 this year, it'll be good. But I think with another draft, we're going to be right back in the playoffs.
Gotcha.
There you go. I appreciate it, Jesse. That's some high optimism for these rookies. Elikai Manor, A.J. Brown, T.O., Gunnar Helm, the next Kelsey. I've heard a lot of people calling him Baby Gronk, not to be confused with the social media star Baby Gronk, but a lot of people think he's Baby Gronk. Stoney Keeley in the F&M Big Chat, Twister, YouTube, Facebook Live said Chimere Dike is going to be the next Tyreek Hill while we're at it. Let's just add that on to Jesse's phone call.
He said that. I know.
Well, he did say Van Jefferson was wide receiver 1 on Saturday after the game, or Friday after the game.
Oh, did he?
No, he didn't. But I told everybody he did. And it really got the phone calls lit up.
Oh, what do you think about Van Jefferson there, Jackson?
I think he is a depth receiver. That I think that's what he's always been. But he's
right. But with this situation, with this team, with young receivers, is he a star? Like really, in theory, he is a 4. You're right. Absolutely.
I think in his career, he's a 4. I think he's being asked to be a 2 or a 3, and we'll see how it goes. I think people are making too much out of the drop. I think it's a tough catch that you'd like to see a veteran come down with, like you guys said. But I think people are they saw Cam Ward make a number 1 pick type throw, like a wow throw, and Van Jefferson didn't come down with it, even though it was a tough catch. It's getting magnified because, like, if Brandon Allen threw that ball, we're not talking about Van Jefferson's drop.
I think that's a good point.
Like nobody is talking about this drop. If Brandon Allen or Trevor Siemian threw that ball, it's because Cam Ward layered a ball between 3 defenders.
Yes.
And it was really, really nice. It was the first one in a game that we've seen. Like, wow, like that's why you picked this guy number 1. And Van Jefferson didn't come up with it, so everybody's on his case.
All right, now give us your bold take, since that was your best take ever, man. Who's going to win the starting job, Van Jefferson or Alec Alamander?
I think in the beginning it's Van. I think towards the end of the season you see Alec creep in there more.
Oh, it maybe sooner than later. Right.
Yeah, I do wonder if they see enough from this practice coming up and they see enough in the Minnesota Vikings game to maybe start Alec. And it may be even a 50-50 split. But Van Jefferson's making this team.
Oh,
he's at least making the initial 53. I can at least tell you that now.
And plus, he's not a salary casualty. I mean, he's making less than, I think, $2 million or something.
Yeah.
But why don't you look at Van Jefferson's rookie stats, or his stats in general? I think he almost had 700-800 yards one year. I think it was with the Rams who drafted him.
I kind of look at Van Jefferson in the way that we kind of have talked about knowing what players are. Mm-hmm. We know what Van Jefferson is.
Right.
And I think that play is kind of indicative of what we know Van Jefferson is. And I would agree, most wide receivers should be expected to catch that 100 times out of 100 times.
Tough catch.
It's a tough catch, but we know that Van Jefferson's not that wide receiver. So a catch that may be 90% completed for most upper echelon wide receivers in the league drops down to maybe 60% for someone of Van Jefferson, because Van Jefferson is a guy that
I would have loved for that to be Calvin Ridley.
Yeah,
what people be saying now.
Right.
We're going to cut Calvin Ridley. Restrepo would have caught that.
Here's what would have happened. Here's what would have happened if Calvin Ridley dropped. They've been like, that just happens.
Right.
But because Van Jefferson's a guy that people, because I think also the fact that the Elikai Manor catch was the catch right before that one, that also magnifies it, because then everybody's like, we got to start Elikai Manor.
Yeah.
And listen, Van Jefferson's a guy that's had a 11% career drop rate. So, I mean, he is a guy that sometimes does not come down with the ball. But that doesn't mean that you should automatically just jump to cutting him just because of this, because he is making plays in practice. And I know people want to put the drop on him, but the defender really, the first drop in the game where he's right in front of Cam and he had a defender come knock the ball out. The defender made a good play, too. I mean, that was kind of a 50-50 ball.
Please
most
stop
players
saying as a drop. That was a drop. The guy knocked it out.
Yeah, that's what I think. But other people in the chat are calling it a drop.
That is
people
not
that call it is not a drop. So I don't know, there's a play that was incomplete by Cam Ward. He basically almost threw it out of bounds almost in that Atlanta game. Van Jefferson caught that ball.
Yeah, and he was out of bounds. I know.
And he was barely out of bounds, but he caught that ball. That's a tough catch.
And you should have done that with the other.
Yeah. But that's the nature of the NFL at wide receiver when you're Van Jefferson. Your margin, your chances for errors are larger with a guy like Van Jefferson than it is with the Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, we know what Van is.
Yeah.
Alec has a lot of upside. So,
yeah.
What was his stats? Did he have a good year at any of those times?
So, 2021, he started all 17 games for the eventual Super Bowl champion Rams. 800 yards, 6 touchdowns on 50 catches. So, but he's
800 yards.
16 yards per reception. By the way.
He's only reached over 300 yards one other time in his career.
And he went just downhill after that.
Went 369 yards the next year, then 209. His last year with the Rams, he only had 100, but he only played in 5 games. And then last year with the Steelers, he had 276 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And how many games did he play?
Last year with the Steelers, 17. Started 12. Started 12, played in all 17.
Yes, that's true. And he garnered 40 targets, 24 catches on 40 targets. And last year was actually his second lowest drop rate year was 7.7%. So he had 2 drops on 40 targets.
Now, real quick off the top of your head, I know you know this. What was Calvin Ridley's drop rate last year?
I do
dropped
not
some
know
balls early, and it was like,
well, I know this. He had a 50-something% reception rate. So I know this. So his drop rate was 11.1% last year.
Oh, same as Van.
Yeah. Van's career.
Right.
So it more than Van in drop rate.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, we've seen other players drop them. Now, again, Calvin Ridley is a much better wide receiver. I heard Ramon and Will talk about A.J. Brown, and he had drops.
Yes.
We all understand when we are making that comment that Van Jefferson's neither of those wide receivers. We're just saying that you guys are kind of viewing the drops way differently than you probably should.
Yeah.
They
all have drops, whether you're an elite player, a back of roster guy, or role player. I mean, they're gonna have drops. He can't afford to have as many drops as the guys that are studs. It's just the way around it. That's the way it goes.
Last year, it was an 8.6% drop rate for NWI, which is higher than what Van Jefferson was.
Ooh.
So he had 3 drops last year.
Oh.
So there you go. The chat is about to go crazy. And here's why.
Oh.
Because we have a phone call, Blaine, and I was trying to tell you this phone call before we went to break, but we have already probably call of the year that happened on Titans Talkback. Because we're about to go to Gorilla, who wants to talk about Van Jefferson, and hopefully he could bring the same heat and same magic he brought at 10:30 at night on Friday night. So Gorilla, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Uh-oh.
What's going on, fellas? Blaine, my man. How in the world are you, of all players, caping up for Van Jefferson? Come on, bro. Van, I'm sorry, man. You must know him or something.
What do you mean? What am I saying about him?
I mean, you're gonna put him. You're making excuses for him. You're gonna put him in a situation where.
But I said he's got to make the catch, though. I said he has to make the catch.
He's not making catches at all. Van Jefferson is going to cost us a game this year, multiple games. I'm tired of these bums coming in for the Tennessee. Because dude is a bum. Let's keep it real, man. We got him before the draft. We got him as a safety blanket. And I'm not comparing him to X, to Restrepo. I'm comparing the fact that he will get a roster spot. I would just cut him, let Alec Armana come in, do his thing, man, and just let it float. I don't like that guy. That guy has no balls. He's a bum, guys. Period. You can look him in the eye. He don't have that dog, Blaine. You know it. Come on, Hitman. This is the Hitman. Yeah. I just watched the AFC 99 AFC Championship game. You got the smallest helmet. Man, you really, come on, dude. That little helmet. Yo, where did that come from, man? Was that even legal?
Oh, man, I don't know. But I don't agree with your premise on Van Jefferson. But on the dog part, I will address that because this is the conversation I had at the time he dropped the ball. I said, that is Van, and I'm talking actually to my son who's sitting next to me who knows Van Jefferson. I don't know Van Jefferson. He knows
there it goes. And
I said, this is the difference of why he hasn't become the player he should be, is because he's not a dog. Dogs would have caught that. And then you go watch him block. He tries act like he blocking, but he not blocking.
And then, look, Blaine, one more thing, and I'm going to let you guys go.
But he's still, on this team, he's still probably the best option early on.
Okay, so with dogs, do you want him in the room with these young boys? Because all he's going to teach them is how not to be house
trained. He won't run them out the room.
He's going to teach these young boys how to be a sucker, how to be weak, how not to get all into it. Come on, Blaine.
Wait, most receivers do not want to block. Let's start there. They don't want to block.
I'm not even talking. I don't care if he don't block or not.
Like kill somebody? I don't think we have seen him go earhole somebody.
Man, I don't want this guy on my team. I don't want him taking up a roster spot because, I love X, man. But I'm willing to go with Oliver over that guy, man. Come on, y'all.
Okay.
Yeah, so, man, get Van out of here. If Van is here, man, I'm gonna look the coaching staff upside the head. I'm looking at them funny.
Okay, now
this is what Gorilla was bringing.
You got to tell Blaine why he's not a dog. Because of why? Why is he not a dog?
This is what he said before. He can't say that.
You got to say it. We're talking 2:40 p.m. 10:30 p.m. is kind of safe to say what you said with not many people listening, maybe. But like it's 2:30. It's 2:40 p.m. Why is he not a dog?
I'm not afraid to say this because I've said this in individuals that live and die in it in Nashville. I looked them in the face and told them they breed chumps and suckers around here. This guy's from Nashville, Tennessee, man. It's hard to get a dog out of Nashville, Tennessee. It's not Hogville. I mean, now we ain't nothing to play with, but we're not Hogville, Indianapolis, I blame.
Oh, watch out.
We're not Memphis. We're not getting them dogs out of here, man.
Wait. First of all, Jalen Ramsey's from Nashville. Here's what I'm going to say to that part, what you just said, though.
You'll get a few of them, and you had John Randall. You'll get a few of them out of here.
But what I'm going to say is, guess where he went? Nothing against it. Ravenwood. That is called the Williamson County bubble.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that is what you're referring to. Not Nashville. But that kind of bubble, they kind of coddled a little bit.
I mean, but again, what I'm saying is that per capita, I would say maybe 10% you'll find dogs around here. The other 90% are suspect. And I said it. And everybody in the city of Nashville knows me. I'm Andre Donnell Jackson, Gorilla. They know me.
Oh,
So
but they
when
come to
see
get
me,
you, man.
I'll
They
tell
come
you
to
why.
get you.
Man, they ain't gonna and guess what they're gonna do when they come to me, man? They're gonna look the other way because they don't have dogs around here. They're gonna curve, man. They're gonna turn. I'm telling you.
man.
I've done it.
You bringing the heat, Gorilla.
All right, Gorilla.
Hey, man.
We have to let you go. We got to go to break
You wrong
again.
for
Appreciate
that,
it, man.
Zach.
We
Thank you,
appreciate
big
it,
dog.
Gorilla.
He was keeping it
You wrong
real.
for that, Zach.
Hey, I had to put you on there. All right, Gorilla.
That
Thanks.
was good. That was fun.
We got your phone calls coming in. We got Scott. We got another phone call coming in, but we got to go break. And we'll get to your phone calls when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone.
Hey, it's Blaine Bishop, and listen, fellas, if your energy and confidence or performance in the bedroom isn't what it used to be, you're not alone. But here's the truth. Masking the symptoms with pills isn't fixing the problem. And at Edge Peptide Therapy, they specialize in sexual health treatments that actually target the root cause of ED and performance issues, whether it's low testosterone, poor blood flow, or hormone imbalance. And even if you're not dealing with full-blown ED, their programs can take your performance and stamina and drive it to the next level. It's not about patching it. It's about getting your edge back for good. And I've seen firsthand what it's done for men, and I know this stuff works. And all you have to do is go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com, or you can just give them a call at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all four Cecil's Garage Stores. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to Scott, who wants to talk about Van Jefferson. Scott, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Good afternoon, fellas. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, Scott.
Good. Hey, I want to get Blaine's opinion on this, and let me preface what I'm going to say by saying that Van absolutely should have made that catch, right? Mm-hmm. But if you look at the replay, the first thing I said when I saw it on TV live was there was nobody behind Van. I think it was a great throw, but if you look at franchise quarterbacks, whatnot, Blaine, I'd like your opinion. If Cam puts just a little bit of air under that ball, I'm not saying a lot, puts just a little more air under that ball, I think that's a touchdown. Because Van was kind of stretching, right? So even if he caught it, it looked like he was going to stumble and fall down. But I honestly believe if Cam, and I'm hoping maybe that's a coaching point for Cam. Great throw, but just a little more air. I think that would have been 6. What do you guys think?
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if he was going to be able to the way it was, but to his point, I think it would have been. But I'm going to always go to the receiver because it's tough for the quarterback to kind of where he made that throw in between people. Why didn't Van dive instead of just reach? Dive and sell out to try to get the ball. And if he sells out and doesn't come up with it, and then the ground calls it to drop, nobody's even having this discussion. See, so the quarterback can't throw a perfect pass every time. Like, man, I mean, you got to help your quarterback out.
Yeah.
So, could he probably did a little bit air on it, made it it would have made the difference. But, man, the receiver at the same time can help you too. So, it was a tough play. I'm going to go back to what I said in the beginning. It was a tough play. You would want to think that your receiver's going to make that catch, especially somebody in Van's position. You would think he could have made that catch.
Let me ask you a question. What'd you think of Cam Ward's remarks? Basically sort of taking ownership himself, but also saying that Van said, I guess in their discussion, Van said I could have put it a little bit wherever it would have been.
Wherever you say. Well, first of all, that means Cam went to him and asked him, "Hey man, where can I put it for you? To help you out? Basically, put it right in the chest. I mean, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have done that on that play. It wasn't that easy like that. So, every play is not going to be a perfect play. I just wish Van could have made the play.
Because a lot of people have said that they can't believe that Van blamed Cam or that Van threw.
This is what happens
to the
in
wording.
Sports. You can't blame people.
Right.
See, that's what the fans do. Because if you do that as a quarterback, now you're blaming people. So what if he came into the presser and said, "Hey, I threw it. That was the best I could do. He dropped it." That's basically blaming him, right?
Yeah.
What do you think that does to your team? Is that going to help your team at all? So we as fans are going to look at it from a different perspective. You divide. You can't divide players amongst players and your teammates. So they're going to make plays, and you're going to make better throws, and you're going to make bad throws and good throws, and they're going to help you out, and you're going to help them out. It's a team, collaboration type deal. It's not ever one way is the one way it has to be. So I like how he approached him. Hey, man, what can I do to help you get that ball? He said, hey, I could have put that there. And I'm sure when they go watch the film, Van's going to be like, dang, I could have dove and gave maybe the all out I could get out of me to get there. That's just the nature of the business. I mean, so it's never like it's somebody's fault. Like if you start doing that finger that you're pointing, going to go right back to you.
Mm-hmm. Because to me, I agree with everything you're saying, and Stephen Parker in the F&M Bank chat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live, kind of says what I think is that Cam asked what happened with the pass, and Van said the ball was a little ahead of me. He didn't straight up say you screwed the throw up.
Right.
He was asked his opinion because you know what Cam's trying to do? We know that Brian Callahan called it an unbelievable throw.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a throw that wasn't completed, and a true competitor would be like, okay, well, I know your limitations is essentially kind of what my head would go to. So what can I do to help you make that catch? Because I know I can always do more. I can play on another level. Yeah. What can I do to help you? And that is another sign of something good with Cam Ward.
Right. Well, no, that's leadership.
That is leadership.
That's leadership. Yeah, there's no way around it. Hey, man, I got you next time. I got you. Even though, and he's like, man, but dang, I don't know if I could have put it any better. But see, guess what? He's secure in who he is. See, the people that's insecure in who they are or worried about their job, they are the ones then that start pointing the finger.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go to Austin, who wants to talk about Van Jefferson. Austin, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I played high school football with Van Jefferson at Ravenwood. I was wanting to see, what Blaine's, what bubble were you talking about?
Oh, the Williamson County bubble. Everybody talks about it.
Being in Brentwood, because our
Yeah, it was in Brentwood, too. My son included.
Year, the team went 2-7, or 2-8, I'm sorry, and then 3-7. And then when Van got there, and then obviously when all of us got to varsity, we ended up going 10-1, and then 14-1, losing to Maryville in the state championship. So what kind of bubble?
We weren't talking about wins and losses. We weren't talking about wins and losses.
Thanks, Austin.
We were talking about people with dog. That's what we were referring to. I don't know how I got to wins and losses. And by the way, Seth Rowland was on that team who leads the HBCU in receiving. He was on that team too as well. I went and watched their games. They were awesome to watch, and they were state champions. Absolutely. High school versus pro is two different things. And I'm talking about the Williamson County bubble is you're kind of protected by what's really going on in the real world with guys who really, let's go compare them to like Pearl Cone and those schools like that don't have very much. That's what we're talking about, not about who wins state or not.
Well, there's a lot to the game we haven't gotten to. We'll do that tomorrow. We're going to do a full-on rookie review tomorrow. Talk about, Eligaya Manor, Chimere DK, what they can do to improve their games. Talk about that Gunnar Helm catch because we kind of got off track talking about Van Jefferson a little too much today. But that's all right. We like to have fun. It was a fun day. Enjoyed it. Glad to be back. Glad to be back with you, Blaine. 3HL's up next. This has been Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons right here on 105 The Zone. And in the meantime...
And in between time...
Peace.
Bubble.